1 year later, Amelia had officially become a part of the Munetani family. All of the people saw her as the sister of Mayuki Munetani. Mayuki's superiors also accepted Amelia as Mayuki's replacement for the position of admiral. Amelia had just been told of a new mission for her by her superiors, and she decided to pay a visit to the Munetani family before she left. Knocking on the door, she waited for a few minutes before being greeted by a smiling Mayuki who said, "Ah, Amelia, it's good to see you. Come in. The girls will be happy to see you." After inviting Amelia in, Mayuki then called to her children who were studying for school in their rooms. "Girls, Aunt Amelia has come for a visit. Come say hello." Immediately there was a sound of running footsteps coming from upstairs. Suddenly, racing down the stairs, appeared the three sisters, who then hurled themselves into their aunt's arms. While screaming, "Auntie," Amelia managed to hug all three of them at once, before saying, "How have my little sailors been?" "We've been good, Auntie. Have you got anything for us?" they all asked in response, giving her the puppy eyes in hope for something from their one and only aunt. "Of course I do. For Mishimo I have a copy of my Iron Cross. For Mafuayo I've got a model of my ship, and last but not least Mashiro, I've got you one of my spare admiral's hat. I hope that these will give you something to remember me by when I'm out on missions," Amelia said while giving each gift to their respective recipients, who all smiled in joy at their gifts before rushing to show their father what they had received after saying thank you and giving their aunt another hug. Mayuki then said, "Would you like to sit down in the living room with us?" In response, Amelia said, "Yes please. I have something I need to tell everyone anyway." "Okay then. The girls should be in the living room with their father. Let's go join them," Mayuki said. Entering the living room, Mayuki's husband turned to Amelia and said, "Amelia, it's good to see you. What brings you to our humble abode?" "That's what I was wanting to talk to you about," Amelia said while gesturing for everyone to sit down. They did so, with the two parents sitting on the sofa opposite to Amelia, with the two elder girls sitting either side of the female battleship looking up at her, with Mashiro sitting comfortably on her lap. "So what is it you wanted to say?" Mayuki asked. "Sigh. I've been given orders for a sortie that will take out to sea for a few months," Amelia said softly. The three children gasped in horror that they wouldn't see their aunt for several months. They all said with tears in their eyes, "But Auntie, why can't you stay with us instead of going away?" Their mother answered, "Girls, you have to understand that your aunt has a job to do. She can't spend all the time with us." The three girls nodded in understanding but still had tears flowing down their cheeks. "We know that, but we'll miss you, Auntie," they all said, attaching themselves to her body. "I tell you what, girls, for the rest of the day, I'll spend with you. Before tomorrow I have to go and prepare my ship for the voyage. If your parents let you, I'll even give you a tour of my ship before I leave. How does that sound?" Amelia said. The tears immediately stopped as the three girls quickly became excited, as no one apart from their mother had ever been on the battleship. They quickly went to their mum saying, "Can we, Mummy? Can we really go on Auntie's ship?" "Of course, dears. As long as we can come, as well as we would like to see it as well," Mayuki said while looking to Amelia, who only nodded in response. "Yay, come on. Let's go play," they all said while dragging Amelia off the sofa she was sitting on. The two parents just sat there smiling as their children dragged away their friend and sister. The next day, when everyone woke up and did their daily routine, they all gathered in the living room to go on their tour of the ship. "As everyone's here, we can go then." "To the car then," Mayuki said as the three girls all rushed to their parents' car. "Amelia, can you give me directions to where we need to go to enter the dockyard and get to your ship?" Mayuki's husband said when they got into the car. "Of course, shall we go then?" Amelia said. When they got to the entrance of the naval base, they were stopped by a security guard who said, "What is the reason for your visit?" The guard said, not seeing Amelia, who was sitting next to the driver. "They're here for a tour of my ship, Sergeant," Amelia said. "Ah, Admiral, of course you may go through then," the guard said while giving a pass to the driver and saluting the Admiral, who saluted back to the flustered sergeant. "All right then, shall we go then?" Amelia asked to the other occupants of the car. "Yeah, okay. Just remember to give me instructions on where to go," Mayuki's husband reminded. Once Amelia guided the Munetani family to her ship, The three girls looked up at it in awe at its colossal size. Amelia then said, "You can just park near the gangplank. The car should be out of the way there." When the car stopped, they all got out and followed Amelia, who walked up the gangplank, but not without saying, "Watch your step, it can be slippery when it's been raining." When the family got to the deck, Amelia then said, "So where do you want to see first?" "The guns, please." The three girls all said, "To the guns it is then. We'll start at Turret Alpha and make our way back," Amelia said before walking to the front of her ship while saying, "Please follow me." When they got to the turret, Amelia opened a hatch on the side of the turret and said, "Please mind your heads, and wait for everyone to get in." Once they got in, the children all looked in awe at the size of the massive gun breeches before them. When Amelia climbed in after everyone else, Mashimo asked, "Auntie, what size guns are these?" "These," Amelia said while patting the side of the breech. "They're 20 inches, the largest guns ever fitted to a warship," she said in pride. "Wow, really?" they said. "Even bigger than Yamato," Mafuayu said. "Yes dear, Yamato can't even compete with the firepower in my arsenal," Amelia said. "Whoa, if you flick that switch over there, it will bring up a shell from the magazine for you to see," Amelia said, pointing to a switch on the wall. Mashimo did so and they all heard a whirring noise. Then 10 seconds later, the largest shell they had ever seen emerged out of a hatch in the floor for them to see. "Oh my god, it's massive," the children all said. "If you want, we might be able to fire one of them as I'm due to do a weapons system test." "Oh, of course it would be a blank, but that's besides the point," Amelia said. "Really?" they all screamed in excitement. "Yeah, just let me inform the base staff on what I'm doing," Amelia said. She then reached to her radio and said, "All base personnel, this is Admiral Amelia Schneider. I'll be shooting my main guns in a few minutes. I just wanted to let everyone know so there isn't any panic. If you understand, please respond." "We understand, Admiral. It's fine for you to test them, especially since it's for your safety on your voyage," came the reply over the radio. "All right, since that is cleared up, who wants to go first?" Amelia said to the girls. "Oh, me first, please," they all said at the same time. To help out her sister, Mayuki suggested, "How about we go from youngest to eldest?" "Ah, okay," the girls said. "All right then. Mashiro, if you would like to come with me, I'll show you what's going to happen. If everyone else would like to stand outside to watch, you can stand by the Bravo turret, and remember to wear your ear protectors," Amelia said while giving everyone a pair of ear protectors and showing them to the spot to stand. Once she and Mashiro were back in the turret, she said, "Now then, Mashiro, what is going to happen is I'm going to load 2 blanks, and then when I give you the signal, I'll let you be the one to fire them." "Okay." "Yeah, okay," Mashiro said. Amelia then brought up 2 blank shells which were then automatically loaded and said, "Have you got your ear protectors on?" After getting a response from Mashiro, she quickly put her head outside the turret to check the others. Seeing that they all had their ear protectors on, she ducked back in and turned the turret to starboard and then said, "You may fire when ready, my dear." Mashiro then pulled the string on the firing mechanism and the 2 guns went off. Boom, the whole deck shuddered when they went off. Mashiro blinked in amazement as the extractor fans got rid of the smoke that filled the turret. When the noise had stopped reverberating, Amelia then asked, "So my dear, how was it?" "It was amazing. It was so loud. It felt great to be in control of that power." "Auntie, I want to be a blue mermaid so I can be with you," Mashiro said, looking up at Amelia with a starry-eyed expression. "Of course you will, dear. When you're older, I'll be waiting for you to be in my fleet," Amelia said kindly. "Now then, shall we go meet up with the others then?" "Okay," Mashiro said before gesturing for Amelia to pick her up. After picking her up, Amelia opened the hatch on the turret, allowing them to get out. When they exited the turret, they were greeted by expressions of awe and amazement. Walking over to the waiting family, Amelia asked, "So how did everyone find it?" "It was great," the 2 children said enthusiastically. "It was extremely loud," the patriarch of the family said. "It was much louder than the guns on my ship," Mayuki said in amusement at her children's expressions. "So, who's next?" Amelia asked. "Oh, it's me next," Mafuayu said excitedly. "Very well, let's go. Everyone else please stay here until we get back," Amelia said while gently placing Mashiro back onto the deck. Alright then Mafuayu, when you get to the top of the ladder I want you to wait for me to get there, okay? Amelia said to Mafuayu, who was waiting at the bottom of the ladder to get to the Bravo turret. Okay auntie, Mafuayu said and immediately started climbing after she spoke. Don't worry if you fall, I'll be right behind you, Amelia said. Okay, once they were both up the ladder, Amelia once again opened up the hatch for the two of them and they both climbed in. Alright, Mafuayu, if you would let me load and get the guns into position then I will hand it over to you, okay? Amelia said as she once again began loading the blanks into the gun breeches. Okay, Mafuayu said, excited for what she was about to do. Once the guns were loaded and in position, Amelia said, when you've got your ear protectors on, then you may fire when ready. Putting her ear protectors on, Mafuayu said, can you give me a countdown please? Of course dear, I'll count down from 3, okay? Yeah, okay, alright then, fire on 1 3. Mafuayu tensed her arm for her pulling of the cord for the firing mechanism. 2. Mafuayu braced herself for the sudden jolt of the guns going off. 1. Mafuayu pulled sharply, resulting in both guns going off with a terrific boom. Then all was quiet, apart from the extractor fans removing the smoke from the turret. Taking off her ear protectors, once the ringing in her ears had stopped, Mafuayu said, that was awesome, can I do it again? Shaking her head softly, Amelia said, sorry my dear, but I have to give your elder sibling a go as well. Ah okay Fian, Mafuayu said, disappointed. I tell you what then, next time I need help testing the guns I'll let you know. How does that sound? Really? Okay, Mafuayu said in excitement. Now then, shall we continue with the rest of the tour? Amelia said rhetorically. Okay, Mafuayu said. Once they were back down the ladder and with the others, Amelia said, how about we go to the bridge first and then make our way to the rear turrets? That sounds fine. The elder Munetini members said. Will I still get a go? Mashimo said in worry of being left out on firing the guns. Of course you will dear. It's just that it is more methodical and it would make you less tired if we did it this way, Amelia explained softly. Okay then, let's go, Mashimo said. As they made their way up the superstructure, the family were asking Amelia questions on the various things they saw on their way. Amelia answered them to the best of her ability. Of course there were some things that she couldn't answer as they secret and a security risk if they were made public. Arriving at the bridge, they were amazed at how high-tech all of the monitors were. The children then said, Auntie, can we sit in the captain's chair? Of course dears. If you want, your parents can take a picture of you each sitting in my seat with my hat on. Or if it's capable, you can all sit on my lap together, Amelia said with a smile. Lap please, they all said. Sitting on her chair, Amelia put on her officer's hat and sat on her chair. One by one she lifted them up with Mashiro in the middle and Mafuayu and Mashimo on either side of their younger sister. Now then, Mayuki, can you take a picture please? Amelia said when they were all sitting comfortably. Of course. Now then, everyone say cheese, Mayuki replied. Cheese, came the response from the three children as they looked towards the camera. Amelia instead hugged them all to her chest and rested her head on top of Mashiro's head and smiled slightly at the children sitting on her lap. After getting of Amelia's lap, the children all rushed to their mother to see the picture that was taken of them. Mayuki then said, if you want we can have it printed and framed so you all can have a copy. Yes please, the children said. What are you going to do with yours? Amelia asked them individually. I'm going to frame it on my wall so I can always see it, Mashimo said. Well, I'm going to put it on my shelf that has all of my prized possessions, Mafuayu said. What about you, Mashiro? Amelia asked. I'm going to put it on my bedside table, Mashiro said quietly. Ah, you're all so sweet. Come here so Auntie can give you a hug, Amelia said with a closed-eye smile. They all ran up to Amelia and hugged her tightly with tears in their eyes. Dears, why are you crying? Amelia said in a worried tone. It's just that you're leaving tomorrow and we don't want you to go, they said in between sobs, slowly making Amelia's admiral jacket wet. Don't worry, I won't be away that long. I should be back for when you all have your school holidays, and if you're in a naval academy at the time, you'll probably get a day off to act as the welcoming committee, as apparently my ship coming and going is a big deal. If so, then your teachers we announce that I am arriving so you'll all be able to see me again. Okay, Amelia explained gently to the 3 children who still had tears in their eyes. Okay auntie, they all said despondently. Come girls, smile. I still have the rest of the day with you all and Mishimo still hasn't fired the main gun yet so I can't leave yet, Amelia said, trying to get them to smile again. Managing to get slight smiles back on their faces, Amelia said, shall we continue with the tour then? Okay, they girls said quietly. Cheer up girls, I can still talk to you over FaceTime so you can still talk to me. Your mother and I will sort out a time that we can both do so it doesn't cut into our lives too much. Okay, the girls said, cheering up instantly. Can we, Mummy? Can we? Of course we can. We still want to stay in contact with your aunt as well, you know, Mayuki said. Yes, the girls shouted in glee. The adults all laughed softly to themselves, seeing the children's happy faces. Come along children, we haven't finished yet. I've still got to show you the rest of the ship that will help you in your careers on a vessel of your own, Amelia said as she began to walk towards the door leading to the rest of the ship. Okay, let's go, Mayuki said, ushering her children to follow after their aunt. The following several hours Amelia showed them all the radar sauna room, the sick bay, the crew accommodation, her accommodation, the canteen, the engine room and the magazines before arriving at the Charlie turret. Well Mishimo, it's your turn now, Amelia said as they got to the bottom of the ladder to the turret. Okay, she said enthusiastically as she began climbing the ladder to the turret. You know the drill, everyone please wait here and we'll be with you shortly, Amelia said to the group and followed Mishimo up the ladder. Once she got up the ladder, she was greeted by a waiting Mishimo who was patiently standing next to the hatch into the turret. Thank you for waiting my child. Shall we go in then? Amelia said, inviting Mishimo into the turret. Following the young girl into the turret, Amelia once again explained what was going to happen. Once everything was ready, Amelia said, you may fire when ready. While grinning from ear to ear, Mishimo pulled the firing cord. The boom shook Mishimo, who stumbled and fell. Instead of landing on the hard floor of the turret as she was expecting, she ended up face-planting into her aunt's large bust, who had managed to catch her before she injured herself. Are you okay, my dear? Amelia asked, worried for her niece's well-being. I'm okay, Auntie. It's just that the recoil caught me off guard, Mishimo said as she buried her head into the large chest of her aunt. Amelia then hugged her closer to her chest, but not enough that it would restrict her breathing. It's okay, my dear. It happens to the best of us, Amelia said comfortingly. They stayed in same position with Mishimo hugged into the chest of the elder female for several minutes, before Mishimo was released after indicating that she wanted to stop. Are you ready to go join the others now? Amelia asked. Yeah, I am now. Thank you, Auntie, Mishimo said. No problem, my child. Now then, let's go join your siblings, Amelia said, getting out of the turret. Yeah, okay, Mishimo said as she climbed out into daylight. After climbing down and rejoining the others, Amelia said, how about for the last turret the 3 of you show your parents what to do? I will be there to help you if you need it. It will also teach you about teamwork as well. Okay, let's go, Mommy and Daddy, the 3 girls said as they dragged their parents to the 4th and final turret. Amelia followed behind so that she could open the hatch for them, dragging their parents inside. The 3 girls then perfectly executed every part of the preparation to fire and then said, Mommy, Daddy, you grab on as well, as they gestured to the cord that they were all holding. Very well, kids, we will, their parents said as they grabbed onto the bit their children didn't have in their grasp. Everyone, you may fire when ready, Amelia said. Once again, when they pulled the cord, the guns shot back from the recoil and created the signature boom as they went off. Mayuki and her husband were impressed. The fact that their daughters managed to perfectly load and fire 2 of the largest guns they'd ever seen, and by the modernness of the ship that was supposed to be from World War II. After they all vacated the turret, Amelia said to them, well, that's all of my ship that I can show you. Would you like to have lunch with me in the canteen before we go? If it's not too much of a bother for you, then we would like that. I believe the girls are hungry after all the excitement, Mayuki said. Follow me then. We'll eat in the officer's mess, Amelia said as she guided them towards the officer's mess. Along the way they all got looks from the people serving on the base, but they didn't mention it once they spotted the admiral in front of them. Arriving at the officers' mess they all walked into Amelia's personal dining room. Upon entering the room the girls all gasped at the luxurious room. "All right everyone, please take a seat and have a look at the menus on the table," Amelia said. "The waiter will be with us shortly." After they all sat down they all, apart from Amelia, gasped at how comfortable the chairs were. After a few minutes of looking at the menu and a small discussion on what to have, they all made a decision on what they were going to have. The 3 children each had flounder sashimi, and the parents each had a pasta salad, whereas Amelia had specially made torpedo tempura, just how it was like back in her world. After they all finished eating the girls said, that was great, Auntie," they said as they rubbed their stomachs. "I agree, that was delicious," the Munetini parents said. "Thank you. Shall we go then?" Amelia asked. "Okay," they all said in reply. "I'll escort you back to the entrance. I still have things that need to be loaded on board," Amelia said as they exited the building. "Ah, but Auntie, can't you come back with us?" the children whined softly. "Kids, your aunt has things to prepare for her journey tomorrow," Mayuki said to her 3 pouting children. "Please," the children said in unison while giving their best puppy eyes. "I'm sorry my dears, but I have to stay here for a bit longer as I have to oversee the loading of the supplies I need for the voyage," Amelia said as she crouched down to their height. "Ah, okay," they said looking down in disappointment, holding back tears. "Don't cry my dears, I'll come home in a few hours. Then we'll spend the rest of the day together," Amelia said as she hugged them all to her chest. Cheering up the girls said, "Okay, do you pinky promise?" they said while holding out their little fingers so that their aunt can do the promise to them. "I promise," Amelia said as she did a pinky promise with all of them. "Come on children, we should go. We don't want to distract Auntie from her work," Mayuki said to her children. "Okay Mummy," the girls said as they ran up to their parents who were waiting by their car, but not before giving their aunt a hug. After they all got into the car, Mayuki said, "Sis, we'll see you later right?" Coming up to the passenger side window Amelia said, "Yeah, I should be back at around 2:30. Turning around to her 3 children in the back of the car, Mayuki said, "Hear that children? Your aunt will be back in 2 hours. Okay," they replied with pleased expressions on their faces. "I'll see you in a few hours then," Amelia said as she stepped back from the car. "Please remember to drive carefully as you leave, there is a lot of lorries driving about." "Okay, will do. Kids, say goodbye to your aunt," the girl's father said as he prepared to set off. "Bye Auntie," the girls shouted as they drove away and waved their hands back at their aunt who waved back. "Now then, I guess I should go supervise the loading of my ship, shouldn't I?" Amelia said to herself. Turning around once the car was out of sight she began her way back to her ship. 2 hours later, when Amelia got back to the Munetini house she was greeted with her 3 nieces at the door waiting for her to come back. "Auntie, you're back," the girls said as they hugged her waist. "Welcome back," Amelia Mayuki said as she came into the hallway and gave her sister a hug. "It's good to be back after the long day of watching my ship being loaded," Amelia said tiredly. "Anyway, as I promised, I'm free to do something with you for the rest of the day," Amelia said to the 3 girls looking up at her expectantly. "Yay, let's go play," the girls said as they dragged Amelia after them. Night time. Amelia was just getting changed into her nightwear when there was a knock on the door. Opening the door she was surprised to see Mashiro, Mafuhayu and Mishimo standing outside her door in their pajamas, looking at the floor in embarrassment. "Dears, what are you doing here?" Amelia said softly so not to alert anyone as to what is happening. "Well, we were wondering if we could sleep with you tonight, since you're leaving tomorrow," Mishimo said nervously. "Of course you can my dears," Amelia said with a smile. "Yay, you're the best auntie," they all said in excitement. "Now then, can you let me get ready for bed before we go to sleep?" Amelia said with an amused smile on her face from their reactions to her agreeing with their request. "Okay," they all said as they sat on her bed. As they waited on her bed Amelia picked up her nightgown and walked out of the room to the bathroom. After she got changed she switched the light off and walked back to her room, where she saw the 3 children sitting on the bed expectantly. Climbing into bed she gestured to them to lie down with her, which they did so with Mishimo and Mafuayu on either side of her and Mashiro on top of her. Mashiro had her head resting on Emilia's cleavage as a pillow. Hugging them all to her body, Emilia said, "Sleep now, my dears. You'll need your energy for my departure tomorrow." Mishimo and Mafuayu tiredly said in response, "Good night, Auntie. I love you," they said before falling asleep holding on to her arms. Emilia said in response, "I love you too, dears." Once she was certain that her sisters were asleep, Mashiro looked up at Emilia from her position on Emilia's chest and said, "Auntie." "Yes, dear. Auntie, will you stay with me forever?" Mashiro asked hesitantly. "Of course, my dear. Now go to sleep. You'll be tired in the morning," Emilia said as she leaned down and planted a kiss on the crown of each of their heads. Happy with her reply, Mashiro then fell asleep, snuggling herself into her aunt's breasts. Smiling kindly and hugging all three of them, Emilia then drifted off into unconsciousness herself.